Another spook chapter?
Yes. And a reveal that, I don't know, we should have seen coming? Did you see it? I don't remember you calling it. Maybe. Mm-mm.
What, that he's basically an inquisitor now?
Yeah.
I don't remember if I called it or not.
Yeah. We might have theorized it was Ruin.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think... I really feel when I came across it, I did not feel like called it, and usually unless I forgot a really cool detail that you had thought about, and then so I'm feeling like no, it was a reveal to me. It was I was like, duh, aw. Why didn't I think of that? Yeah.
So, yes, I remember us being perhaps indecisive as to whether or not, quote unquote, Kelsier was ruin or preservation. I think I leaned a little bit toward ruin in the sense that vengeance sounded more like a ruin thing. The excuse given in the chapter is that a piece of metal broke off from the sword that pierced him, right? Or at least that's what Spook estimates.
Yes.
Does that strain your believability at all? Like, aren't swords generally pretty sturdy?
Probably not. The swords of like the street toughs and whatever. Yeah, the good swords probably are hard to come by.
Gotcha.
And yeah, it's also there's also the fact that a pewter arm was wielding it, so they could also have put a lot of force into it. So there's that.
Interesting. Okay. And I guess whatever type of metal the sword was, I would have assumed it was steel in some manner. I can't imagine them using copper. I don't know if pewter is generally used for making swords, but I also don't think it's like verified that pewter metal makes a pewter inquisitor.
Yeah, it seems like the person you kill, the person that dies on you, through you, I suppose your blood somehow mingles, that person is the one that gives you the power. So it doesn't seem like it's the metal itself, because he was being attacked by a pewter arm.
Right.
And then he was run through, and so pierced right through, in the same way that they would with hemalurgy. And so the person that basically died under him or on him or whatever was the one that gave him his power.
Right.
That's why we didn't have that conversation. So that's why I knew we didn't call it.
Right. That spawns an interesting thought in me right now, which is to say, it seems that hemalurgy, the act of killing, is a ruinous thing to do. And I'm imagining I'm trying to think of what Vin did when she called upon the mists she was saving. So I wonder if there's something in the act of attempting to kill versus the act of attempting to save that influences one's ability to do either of these two things, either create an inquisitor or draw upon the mist.
But what if you're killing to save? Does it know? I suppose it would know if you're killing to save. Sorry, just bringing a bit of Paladin in.
Yeah, although it's worthy of noting here that in this case, Spook was the victim of an attack and not the one doing the attacking. Yes. I mean, he was attacking, but I mean, Spook was the intended target of the thing, of the sword.
Yeah. So, and also I guess we can get into it, but front loading. Also, just the thing that it seems like there's something in Spook that makes him vulnerable to Ruin's machinations. It seems like there might be something about the person, which we've read in an epigraph, that the mists affect people according to Ruin's influence on them. And it seems like Spook, because of his insecurity, he has that chink in his armor that Ruin can get at and feed on.
Yeah, he certainly has a very strong desire to push himself to the utmost limit for the sake of being useful, even though it's causing harm to himself, which is in and of itself ruinous. Haha.
Aha.
It's interesting, we didn't get straight into his escape from the burning building. We had his little flashback chapter, and
Hmm.
it's not that he isn't wounded. I was a little fuzzy on the timeline of this all. Like, did he rest for a couple of days? I know it mentions he's still recovering, like he can still feel the wound, but it doesn't say if he's taken any effort to like wrap it or seek help or anything like that. Now, it does, obviously, he's a thug now, so he can brush, I think, a lot of it off, which mitigates some of we don't need to know specifically if he went about healing himself, but it makes it hard to gauge if he's got this very serious wound still that he is just ignoring or not. Because what I did get out of this chapter is he's not stopping, he's not resting, he's not taking a day to
Hmm.
heal. So it was a little tough to gauge exactly how hard he's pushing himself, other than to say that I know he is pushing himself hard.
Yeah. The only indication we have of what's happened is he's got a bit of a scab that
Hmm.
has developed. It's scabbed over a little bit. His wound is scabbed over. That's the only thing. But yeah, there's no bandages that are spoken about, and he's not bleeding. But yeah, it does make me think he doesn't know much about. He doesn't know enough actually, or he's not paying attention to the problems with pewter. So that he's like, oh, I can't feel the pain, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, well, I can feel only a little bit of the pain, so it's fine. So it's like as soon as he runs out of pewter, we don't know what's going to happen. But we do know that actively his body is healing at a
Mhm.
faster rate because of pewter.
Yes. And I seriously hope he doesn't do with pewter what he did with tin, because it sounds like, and it has been emphasized in previous chapters, that pewter is much more dangerous to overdo it on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I feel like that's the kind of person he is. He's going to try and do the same thing,
Yeah.
and it's not going to work out for him.
Yeah. Let's get into the chapter, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. For this particular series, I am joined by my wonderful co-host, that darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are both going into this story completely new with almost no knowledge of the story or world. Each segment will cover what happens in each new chapter while discussing our experience along the way.
This is The Hero of Ages. It's all in the pages, a blind read-through. And today we are covering Chapter 26.
Chapter 26.
I am only beginning to understand the brilliance of the Lord Ruler's cultural synthesis. One of the benefits afforded him by being both immortal and, for all relevant purposes, omnipotent, was a direct and effective influence on the evolution of the final empire. Cool.
Yeah, he can watch every single generation and make sure it's going with the way he wants.
Yeah. One of the things about tyranny is there's a certain degree of speed with which you can accomplish incredible things. It's just that the cost is quite terrible to be able to accomplish it. So you can understand why the Lord Ruler might have designed the cultures in the way that he did for a certain effectiveness, but it doesn't make it any less tyrannical.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, cool, it made sense. That's nice. Your tyranny made sense. It was logical. Cool.
But there's no humanity in it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not for the good of people. It's just the way, because he said so, is the answer, essentially.
Yeah. He was able to take elements from a dozen different cultures and apply them to his new, perfect society. For instance, the architectural brilliance of the Clenny builders is manifest in the keeps that the high nobility construct. Clenny fashion sense, suits for gentlemen, gowns for ladies, is another thing the Lord Ruler decided to appropriate. So yes, he's picking and choosing his favorite things from various different cultures and incorporating them.
It's all about what he wants.
Yes.
Yeah, he is picking. He's picking all of the culture things that he likes from the cultures, but at the same time eradicating them. He's making them his culture.
Mm-hmm.
They're the kind of food they eat is because he likes it, not because there is a cultural reason for it, or people like it, or it's got to do with the ingredients that were available to certain people. No, nothing like that. It's just because he likes it, and that's it. Okay, this furniture style. It's not because of the people that usually craft it. It's because he likes it, so he's going to fuel that. He's socially engineering everything.
Yes. I suspect that despite his hatred of the Clenny people, of whom Alendi was one, Reshek had a deep-seated envy of them as well. The Terrace of the time were pastoral herdsmen, the Clenny cultured cosmopolitans. However ironic, it is logical that Reshek's new empire would mimic the high culture of the people he hated.
I don't like the way that sentence is. It is logical. No, it's not logical. You said it's ironic. And I don't know, it's logical. Yeah, it makes sense that even though you hate something, it's based in envy, which means that you do actually want it. So I just didn't like the way it was like, oh, it's logical. Like, yeah, A+. I don't know. I just don't like that word logical. It sounds like there's no emotion involved in it, but it's this envy and hatred. And then, oh, by the way, you would expect logically that if you hate something, you leave it alone. You don't want it. You move away from it. But it's a nitpick. It's stupid.
Well, I imagine that there were people who both hated Rome for, say, how they were conquering the known world, but also admired their roads and their food and so on. On to the chapter, then.
Mm-hmm.
Spook stood in his small one-room lair, a room that was illegal. The citizen forbade such places where a man could live unaccounted for, unwatched. Fortunately, forbidding such places didn't eliminate them. It only made them more expensive. Good line.
Very good line. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It even has its own line. It's like it's all by itself there in my edition.
Same. And we more or less become aware that Spook is okay. He's not in the care of doctors or his contact in the city helping him recover. It seems he was able to just get home, pass out. Yeah, and then be okay for a while. Heal naturally.
Yeah, like he is standing.
Yeah. Spook was lucky. He barely remembered leaping from the burning building, clutching 6 allomantic vials, coughing and bleeding. He didn't at all remember making it back to his lair. He should probably be dead. Even surviving the fires, he should have been sold out. If the proprietor of his little illegal inn had realized who Spook was and what he'd escaped, the promise of a reward would undoubtedly have been irresistible. How would he know, though?
How would he know who Spook is?
Yeah.
Rumors. There's a guy that was wearing a headscarf or whatever, and he got burnt and whatever. But then you could just go, I don't know. I get money. I suppose no. And also, what kind of reward are you going to get from the citizen? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is like cultivating a sort of snitch culture. But then again, giving him up shows that you have illegal rooms. So that's probably
another what?
That's another angle. That it's like, if I give him up, then it's like that might draw attention to me and my illegal business. No.
Thank you for your service in turning in the criminal. Now I will arrest you too for harboring him.
Yeah, exactly.
In the first place. But Spook was free. Perhaps the other thieves in the lair thought he had been on the wrong side of a robbery, or perhaps they simply didn't care. Either way, he was able to stand in front of the room's small mirror, shirt off, looking in wonder at his wound. Does Spook have a 6-pack, you think?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I can't imagine
but,
he's
from
eating...
skinniness.
Yeah, skinny pack. I was just about to say. I'm alive, he thought, and I feel pretty good. He stretched, rolling his arm in its socket. The wound hurt far less than it should have. In the very dim light, he was able to see the cut, scabbed over and healing. Pewter burned in his stomach, a beautiful complement to the familiar flame of tin. Beautiful compliment.
Beautiful until, so he's just gonna be an addict on this stuff, man. But then again, they're always burning their metals, the Mistborn and everything.
It really feels like that. I kind of wish we could go back to the very beginning of the first book when Vin was like, I don't want to be dependent on this, so I'm not going to burn it all the time.
She was like, oh, I don't want to run out, or whatever. I suppose it's the flaring stuff and the just not managing when you're using it.
Yeah.
The rate at which you're going through your metals is important. Not so much that you are always burning them.
Sure. He was something that shouldn't exist. In Allomancy, people either had only one of the 8 basic powers, or they had all 14 powers. One, or all, never 2. Yet Spook had tried to burn other metals without success. Somehow he had been given pewter alone to complement his tin. Amazing as that was, it was overshadowed by a greater wonder. He had seen Kelsier's spirit. The survivor had returned and had shown himself to Spook. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, he had. For that's what you believe, I know.
Yeah. Don't trust it, Spook.
Yeah, this whole chapter just he does have the goodness. These are these good thoughts that he has, but he doesn't say them out loud. And just the juxtaposition between what Ruin is saying to him and what he's thinking. Like, he's still thinking good things, but he's on the way. We know he's doomed.
Yeah, subtle touch.
Mm-hmm.
I really need Breeze and Sazed to come in and for Sazed to give some sage wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Well, not that he's doing so well at the moment.
Yeah. Spook had no idea how to react to that. He wasn't particularly religious, but, well, a dead man, who some called a god, had appeared to him and saved his life. He worried that it had been a hallucination, but if that were so, how had he gained the power of pewter? It's a good question. You shouldn't trust strange gifts from ethereal beings.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. I think I would probably be like, cool. But I didn't ask for it. I don't owe you anything. So you gave it to me. But
yeah, but I saved your life, didn't I?
Yeah, that's true. But you're just a voice in my head. Go away.
He shook his head, reaching for his bandages, but paused as something twinkled in the mirror's reflection. He stepped closer, relying, as always, upon starlight from outside to provide illumination. With his tin, it was easy to see the bit of metal sticking from the skin next to his shoulder, though it protruded only a tiny fraction of an inch. I saw that, and that's the reveal. It's like, oh
yes. No. I was like, oh, duh. Like, once I got there, I was like, there you go. That's what it was. I was like, oh, damn it. How did we not think of that?
Yep.
But I mean, I would have, if you gave me that's, maybe one bit of the sword is left in him and then it's hemology, I would have been like, yeah, that's a theory. It works. It's unlikely. But I would have said, yes, it makes sense. That's all I would have said.
I just have the hardest time imagining how a piece of a sword breaks off. They did mention what types of swords were popular in this city. I'm trying to remember if they were rapiers or not. I guess those are kind of thin and possibly capable of breaking, which would make it a bit more believable. I'll have to go back a few chapters and revisit that.
Yeah. They don't have to be good swords, and it does happen.
Yeah, I guess just when I generally hear sword, I think of like medieval longsword or a gladius, just because I like Rome. But the more I think on it, the more I do think that they had called the swords in this city thin. Anyway, the tip of that man's sword, Spook realized, the one that stabbed me. It broke. The end must have gotten embedded in my skin. He gritted his teeth, reaching to pull it free. No, leave it. It, like the wound you bear, is a sign of your survival. Oh, Kelsier talks to him now.
Yeah, sure. Interesting thought there. Like, okay, so what happens? Does he die if that comes out now? Or does he just lose his pewter power?
I don't know. I suppose it depends
'Cause
on
then
how fatal the wound is, maybe.
yeah.
Like I
Yeah,
imagine like I
mhm,
imagine with the Inquisitors that they're pulling out the one from the back. Like that's got to be like lodged into their like through their
mm,
chest or heart or spine or something that would necessitate being unable to live, but like
mhm,
a short rapier type spike, maybe live?
mm. Yeah. No, I'm just thinking of the magic wise. Is it like, does it automatically kill him? Like, just like, okay, you were going to die anyway, and now because of hemalurgy, you're alive and it's taken out, therefore you die.
That's my
Yeah,
fear.
but it seems like, yeah, that's my fear, but it seems like, yeah, I guess that's on purpose. That idea of, is it just a little bit and it's fine, you die because it's removed, because that's the kill switch, or because the spike is so big, without it, you're dead. I don't know. It seems like the magic would be entwined with that, because it's like, if you remove it, you're no longer magic anyway, and then you die. I don't know. What I mean is it a kill switch? Is this also a kill switch? That's all.
I hope not.
And that goes back to the theory of the earring with Vin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she can take that in and out. So,
Yeah. And also noteworthy that Kelsier is speaking. There are parentheses and what have you.
mm-hmm. So yeah, because he can hear it out. So yeah, you can hear it outside
Yeah.
of his head.
Spook started. He glanced about, but there was no apparition this time, just the voice, yet he was certain he'd heard it. So, no apparition, but he's in a building. Mist can't get into a building. So,
True.
yeah.
Well, hold on. The apparition was in a building as well.
Oh, that's true. But it was burning down at the time?
Yeah, maybe.
That's a weak
Might be a
excuse.
loophole. hmm Yeah, when a tent can keep the mist out. I don't know.
Yeah. Kelsier? He hesitantly asked. There was no response. Am I going mad? Spook wondered. Or is it as the Church of the Survivor teaches? Could it be that Kelsier had become something greater? Something that watched over his followers? And if so, did Kelsier always watch him? That felt a little unsettling. But if it brought him the power of pewter, then who was he to complain?
Yeah, yeah. That's just it. It's like, what? How does this benefit me? Okay, it's fine.
Yeah. I imagine once you ascend to godhood, you become less interested in keeping an eye on you and judging you for, like, laying in bed an extra 20 minutes when waking up, or picking your nose, or that kind of thing.
Yeah, that then you would be a very, very sad god, because you would be so disappointed.
Right? I just kind of feel like your mind becomes not consumed by your domain. You become more preoccupied. You've got like this passive knowledge of everything that's going on within your domain, but your main focus becomes grander.
hmm You're collecting data. It's there. You just don't go and reference it.
Yeah. Spook turned and put his shirt on, stretching his arm again. He needed more information. How long had he been delirious? What was Quellion doing? Had the others from the crew arrived yet? This gives me the sense that he is only just now getting back up.
Yeah, and I mean, he had bandages. It seems like, I don't know, I think it's a couple days at least has passed.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Taking his mind off his strange visions for the moment, he slipped out of his room and onto the dark street. As layers went, his wasn't all that impressive. A room behind a hidden door in a slum alleyway wall. Still, it was better than living in one of the crowded shanties he passed as he made his way through the dark mist-covered city. The citizen liked to pretend that everything was perfect in his little utopia, but Spook had not been surprised to find that it had slums, the same as every other city he'd ever visited. There were many people in Urtio who, for one reason or another, weren't fond of living in the parts of town where the citizen could keep watch on them. These had aggregated in a place known as the Harrows, a cramped canal far from the main trenches.
I love that name.
The Harrows?
Yeah, I love that name for a slum. The Harrows, it's a harrowing place. It's great.
It's really cool, yeah. This may be one of my favorite cities that Sanderson has made thus far.
Mm.
In a weird way, I like it better than Luthadel.
Yeah, it's interesting, strange.
It feels like it has more character than Luthadel.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Like, you know how in different stories, things can have big C character? Hogwarts has character.
Yeah.
Type of a thing. I never really felt like Luthadel had big C character. It was just Luthadel, the place where the crew is doing the stuff that they're doing. But this town, this city, feels like it has big C character.
Yeah. But actually, quite interestingly, it seems like it's because it's smaller.
I agree.
Yeah, that's why it's more contained. And also it's just got its own characteristics that are just the other places we've been, like the other town that Vin was in and all of that. It just seemed normal.
Yeah.
But I guess the other places as well, the place that the Fadrix, that's also got an interesting, just because they're different to Luthadel, they are big C character.
Yeah, I don't feel like we've gotten enough in Fadrix for it to have big C character yet. We've got its unique design, and that's interesting. But I think...
Yeah, and I know we don't know anything about the people or anything like that. But for me, it already stands out just by its structure. It already makes me very curious about it.
Agreed. I am very curious as well. The Harrows was clogged with a disorderly mash of wood and cloth and bodies. Shacks leaned on shacks, buildings leaned precariously against earth and rock, and the entire mess piled on top of itself, creeping up the canal walls toward the dark sky above. Here and there, people slept under only a dirty sheet stretched between two bits of urban flotsam, their millennium-old fear of the mists giving way before simple necessity. Spook shuffled down the crowded canal. Some of the piles of half-buildings reached so high and wide that the sky narrowed to a mere crack far above, shining down its midnight light, too dim to be of use to any eyes but Spook's. Cool.
That just made me think of the way Kaladin sees the sky through the chasms. Like just that sliver of sky kind of idea. But they're made by, that's how much stuff is in the canal now.
Yeah.
I don't think it was this with the Lord Ruler. I don't think so.
I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
Perhaps the chaos was why the citizen chose not to visit the Harrows, or perhaps he was waiting to clean them out until he had a better grip on his kingdom. Either way, his strict society mixed with the poverty it was creating made for a curiously open nighttime culture. The Lord Ruler had patrolled the streets. The citizen, however, preached that the mists were of Kelsier, so he could hardly forbid people to go out in them. Urtio was the first place in Spook's experience where a person could walk down a street at midnight and find a small tavern open and serving drinks. He moved inside, cloak pulled tight. There was no proper bar, just a group of dirty men sitting around a dugout fire pit in the ground. Others sat on stools or boxes in the corners. Spook found an empty box and sat down. Loved all that.
It sounds like a great joint.
Yeah. No, I loved all that. It all makes clear sense. It adds more character to the city. It builds the culture in a unique way that is, I think, memorable.
Mm-hmm. I love that it's all done despite what the citizen is doing.
Yeah.
Or because of. Like this is where they've collected because they don't want to be in the orderly part of the city. That's exactly where he is as well. He's staying in the slums, not all the way into the Harrows, but he's staying in a slummy area, rather than where he can be watched. So it's like, yeah, sure, you'll have more orderliness over there, but you'll also have more surveillance. So it's interesting how naturally this has built itself up.
Yeah. Then he closed his eyes and listened, filtering through the conversations. He could hear them all, of course, even with his earplugs in. So much of being a tin eye wasn't about what you could hear, but what you could ignore. Footsteps thumped near him, and he opened his eyes. A man wearing trousers sewn with a dozen different buckles and chains stopped in front of Spook, then thumped a bottle on the ground. "Everyone drinks," the man said. "I have to pay to keep this place warm. Nobody sits for free." "What have you got?" Spook asked. The bartender kicked the bottle. "House Venture Special Vintage, aged 50 years. Used to go for 600 boxings a bottle." "Oh my, expensive."
Yeah, well, inflation, though. Oopsie poopsie. Well, I suppose no. Yeah, they're not using boxings anymore. Never mind.
Yeah.
We'll find out about that now. But yeah, so it's a fancy wine. Interesting. So yeah, just from the pillaging or whatever, they're not through the wine. That's how much wine the Ventures had.
Yes.
They're not through the wine yet.
And we get some good explanation of the economics behind why it becomes so cheap. But Spook, enjoy the quality. If it's an expensive bottle, hopefully that means the quality is high, so enjoy that at least.
Yeah. Or you can just lie and say, yes, it's a Venture Vintage. What would they know? What would the Scar know?
True. Spook smiled, fishing out a peck, a coin minted by the citizen to be worth a fraction of a copper clip. A combination of economic collapse and the citizen's disapproval of luxury meant that a bottle of wine that had once been worth hundreds of boxings was now practically worthless. "3 for the bottle," the bartender said, holding out his hand. Spook brought out 2 more coins. The bartender left the bottle on the floor, so Spook picked it up. He had been offered no corkscrew or cup. Both likely cost extra, though this vintage of wine had a cork that stuck up half an inch above the bottle's lip. Spook eyed it.
With the picks and all of that, and also this person wearing buckles, that's a lot of, that seems like, I mean, they could be wooden buckles, I understand, but that's a lot of metal. Just noting that.
Good note. And this information about the money is important because we get some rumors later on regarding coinage. Anyway, Spook's looking at the bottle. He thinks, I wonder. He had his pewter on a low burn, not flared as his tin was, just there enough to help with the fatigue and the pain. In fact, it did its job so well that he'd nearly forgotten about his wound during the walk to the bar. I'm worried about Spook, guys.
Yeah, he's gonna flare. But the thing is, pewter burns a lot faster than what's a tin. So he's gonna have to deal with that.
Yeah.
It's a worse drug. He's onto a worse drug.
Yep. He's pushing himself too hard. He stoked the pewter a bit, and the rest of the wound's pain vanished. Then Spook grabbed the cork, pulling it with a quick jerk. It came free of the bottle with barely a hint of resistance. I have to admit, on my first read-through, I expected the bottle to shatter.
Yeah, because he would have no control over his strength, or no idea. But yeah, thank goodness it didn't, because then that would be like, I don't know, it would draw attention to himself, but I guess that doesn't matter later on.
Yeah. Spook tossed the cork aside. I think I'm going to like this, he thought with a smile. He took a drink of the wine straight from the bottle, listening for interesting conversations. He had been sent to Urtio to gather information, and he wouldn't be much use to Ellen or the others if he stayed lying in bed. Dozens of muffled conversations echoed in the room, most of them harsh. This wasn't the kind of place where one found men loyal to the local government, which was precisely why Spook had made his way to the Harrows in the first place.
This kind of conversation would not happen closer to where the citizen has influence. This is the communism, the culture of like, yeah, you don't say stuff against the government, and you're being watched back where there is control. But yeah, it's a little bit easier.
Yes. I'm also wondering at this point, a bit worried for Spook, what is going to happen when Sazed and Breeze do finally see him? Like, I'm wondering if Spook's self-perception of himself is completely disjointed from reality. Like, is Sazed going to see, like, this wretch of a person, and Spook just doesn't realize it?
Yeah, they're not going to recognize him. It's going to be a bit of a shock. And yeah, and they will be concerned. They won't just take it in their stride that, oh, he's now just a savant. It's like they're like, whoa, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping Empath Breeze will feel compelled to reach out in some way.
Yeah. But that just makes me think, even then, if there is some perceived rejection from those two, that will just be fed on by Ruin.
True. Even if it's just that, a perceived rejection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ruin's going to be all like, well, if they're not with you, they're against you.
Yeah, and I hope it takes at least some convincing for that. Because that's just, like, out of nowhere. Why would Kelsier hate those two? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. They say he's gonna get rid of coins, a man whispered at the fire pit. He's making plans to gather them all up, keep them in his treasury. That's foolish, another voice replied. He minted his own coins. Why take them now? It's true, the first voice said. I seen him speak on it myself. He says that men shouldn't have to rely on coins, that we should have everything together, not having to buy and sell. The Lord Ruler never let Ska have coins either, another voice grumbled. Seems that the longer old Quellion is in charge, the more he looks like that rat the survivor killed. That was interesting.
Fun. Yeah, it makes sense that we're going to get this collectivism of, no, nobody needs to own anything. It is ours, comrade. So we don't need coins. It's fine.
Yeah, that's
we just share.
Great idea and all, but how are you going to organize it? First off, I think presumably metals would still have value by dint of being metals. But how are you going to organize a cashless society? Because are you going to introduce waivers and like food stamps, literal stamps? And does that not ultimately replace money? Because they have value, a stamp is worth X amount of bread.
Yeah, people will start doing that. You find something that is valuable. I think it was coffee or something like that. V was discussing this about Romanian communism. What really happens is that, well, scarcity becomes the currency. So if your neighbor doesn't have butter and you have more butter from the rations, then yeah, the bartering system starts coming out. But I don't think he's really thinking of trade. Everybody should just share everything. It's like, that's easier said than done.
Yes, but it's
difficult with siblings, and now you want to do a whole society. Good luck.
Yeah, and I guess he's hoarding the coins for himself. What does that mean?
No, he's just taking them back, Dorkus. Come on now.
Yeah.
It's fine. They don't mean anything anymore.
Yeah. Spook raised an eyebrow, taking another chug of wine. Vin, not Kelsier, was the one who had killed the Lord Ruler, but Urtio was a significant distance from Luthadel. They probably hadn't known about the Lord Ruler's fall until weeks after it happened. Yeah, that's an important bit of information there. We didn't even mention it when we did the dialogue, but yeah, they're saying that Kelsier killed the Lord Ruler.
Yeah, it makes sense that that's how it would get muddied up. Because it's like, then you would have to think of two people that are really cool and whatever, and it's just like, yeah, it seems like that they've been combined into one.
Yeah, but that's how one religion becomes two, and then that's how two religions go to war with each other.
Yeah, exactly. They interpret the actual events differently, or they heard differently, so they believe differently, and yeah. And nobody cares that people are like, you weren't there. And it's like, no, well, I decided that this is what actually happened anyway. And they are lying. The people that said they were there are lying.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He moved on to another conversation, searching for those who spoke in furtive whispers. He found exactly what he was listening for in a couple of men sharing a bottle of fine wine as they sat on the floor in the corner. Most everyone is catalogued now, the man whispered. But he's not done yet. He has those scribes of his, the genealogists. They're asking questions, interrogating neighbors and friends, trying to trace everyone back 5 generations looking for noble blood.
But he only kills those who have noblemen back 2 generations. There's going to be a division, the other voice whispered. Every man who is pure 5 generations back will be allowed to serve in the government. Everyone else will be forbidden. It's a time when a man could make a great deal of coin if he could help people hide certain events in their past. Interesting gossip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The kinds of markets that spring up as well when control happens. That's kind of a running theme in this chapter. Like, okay, it makes things more expensive. It's forbidden, but that just makes things more expensive. Oh, well, now he's doing genealogy. Okay, cool. Now we'll make a business out of covering people up.
He's rebuilding the Ska nobleman dynamic. He's just switching the Ska and the nobleman. And
yeah,
of course, that means there's going to be the black market for fake genealogical papers and so on.
Mm-hmm. But another thing is that, sure, he's looking for all these generations, and okay, you have to be 5 generations pure, and then you'll be able to serve in the government. Yet, he has allomances over there. So,
yeah.
It's more, I feel like it's more likely that those allomances are not within that cutoff. But it's fine, it works, it rules for me, for the year, not for me.
Agreed. Spook thought, taking a swig of wine. Oddly, the alcohol didn't seem to be affecting him much. The pewter, he realized, it strengthens the body, makes it more resistant to pains and wounds, and perhaps helps it avoid intoxication. He smiled. The ability to drink and not grow drunk was an advantage of pewter that nobody had told him about. There had to be a way to use such a skill. Yeah, drink a lot, pretend you're drunk, and people may or may not spill your guts, or you can trick people into thinking you're spilling your guts.
Yeah. And therefore they share as well.
Spook turned his attention to other bar patrons, searching for useful tidbits. Another conversation was about work in the mines, and he felt a chill and a flicker of remembrance. The men spoke of a coal mine, not a gold mine, but the grumbles were the same. Cave-ins, dangerous gas, stuffy air, and uncaring taskmasters. That would have been my life, Spook thought, if clubs hadn't come for me. To this day, he still didn't understand. Why had clubs traveled so far, visiting the distant eastern reaches of the final empire, to rescue a nephew he'd never met? Surely there had been young allomancers in Luthadel who had been equally deserving of his protection. Well, your family.
Yeah, family. He loves his sister. The end.
And Clubs is sentimental. He just pretends he's not. Clubs had spent a fortune traveling a long distance in an empire where Ska were forbidden to leave their home cities, and had risked betrayal by Spook's father. For that, Clubs had earned the loyalty of a wild street boy who, before that time, had run from any authority figure who tried to control him. Cute.
Interesting. Now he's going to have Ruin as his authority figure. Ugh.
Oh no. What would it be like, Spook thought, if Clubs hadn't come for me? I would never have been in Kelsier's crew. I might have hidden my allomancy and refused to use it. I might have simply gone to the mines, living the same life as any other Ska. The men commiserated about the deaths of several who had fallen to a cave-in. It seemed that, for them, little had changed since the days of the Lord Ruler. So, I'm reminded of the conversation between Goradel and Sazed here. The farmers, work for themselves and their family. And obviously, Spook wasn't part of that conversation, but he doesn't quite see that here.
Yeah, and well, it seems like they're still not benefiting anyway. They're in the same position. There is no ownership. The difference that is pointed out by Goradel is that it's for themselves, whereas they're just doing the coal mining because that's just what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have that spirit or that change in perspective because it's just a new leader.
Yeah. Then again, they're doing it for the citizen now, so maybe for them they really haven't changed all that much. Then again, why does the citizen need gold miners? Oh, no, they're coal miners, not gold. Never mind. Retract. I was gonna say, if he hates... Oh, God, what was the word? If he hates luxury so much. But anyway, no, they're coal miners. Spook's life would have been like theirs, he suspected. He'd be out in those eastern wastes, living in sweltering dust when outside, working in cramped confines the rest of the time. Most of his life it seemed that he had been a flake of ash, pushed around by whatever strong wind came his way. He'd gone where people told him to go, done what they'd wanted him to. Even as an Alamancer, Spook had lived his life as a nobody. The others had been great men. Kelsier had organized an impossible revolution. Vin had struck down the Lord Ruler. Clubs had led the revolutionary armies, becoming Elend's foremost general. Sazed was a keeper and had carried the knowledge of centuries. Breeze had moved waves of people with his clever tongue and skillful soothing, and Ham was a powerful soldier. But Spook, he had merely watched, not really doing anything.
Oh, here we go. The usual. Did you think at all about the first book when Vin wants to be like a flake of ash? Or like she's watching the flakes of ash fall and she's like, she wants to be free like them. So it was interesting to have Spook say he's been like a flake of ash and it's a negative view.
I love that. I did not think of that, but that is a wonderful parallel. Yeah, no, I got a lot of, we are re-emphasizing how he views the rest of his crew versus himself.
Yeah, and it's over and over again. It's emphasizing that it's an obsession. It's he spends a lot of his time thinking like this. So I think Sanderson's just building more and more to whatever turn Spook takes, because he's worried about, I'm just never been good enough. I've just never been good enough. At the moment, he has the insecurity and he wants to do good with it.
Yeah.
He just needs to be tipped over and manipulated to find a different kind of good, what's good for him. That's all. He just needs to be changed a little bit.
Right. Until the day he ran away, leaving clubs to die. Spook sighed, looking up. I just want to be able to help, he whispered. You can, Kelsier's voice said. You can be great, like I was. So now he's talking to himself. And something's talking back. And Spook, I think you should be very wary of invisible beings telling you can be great.
But the key point there is just confirmation with this is it's only when he speaks out loud. The Kelsier is not referring to any thoughts that he has. Like Kelsier is not going, clubs did this, or he doesn't know. Ruin doesn't know what he's thinking, only what he says.
Very good point. Yes, because Ruin can't hear thoughts.
So we've got I just want to be able to help.
Spook started glancing about, but nobody else appeared to have heard the voice. Spook settled back uncomfortably, but the words made sense. Why did he always berate himself so much? True, Kelsier hadn't picked him to be on the crew, but now the survivor had appeared to Spook and granted him the power of pewter. I mean, it's not a line of thought I want you to be going down, Spook, but perhaps if Kelsier hadn't picked you for the crew, you should be skeptical of why Kelsier would pick you now. But
it's not that Kelsier rejected him from the crew. It's just that he came along,
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, I was about to say, like, he was in Clubs' crew, and it's not like he was kicked out.
Yeah, but now he gets the recognition of Kelsier. So Kelsier has come back from the dead to give him justice, give him what he deserves, which is recognition that he finally gets. It's finally, he's special. He's special like everyone else. He's been given gifts by Kelsier. So it's perfect.
Yeah, there's a very dangerous thing going on there.
That's what the whole way through. I just feel so sad for him because I'm like, I can see exactly how this is gonna break him down.
Yeah,
like he's still like, as you go into the next thoughts. Yeah, let's see. He's still thinking good things, but that one thing. Oh yeah, why do I berate myself all the time? Yes, we do want you to stop berating yourself, but at the same time, we don't want you becoming an egomaniac.
I could help the people of this city, he thought, as Kelsier helped those of Luthadel. I could do something important. Bring Urtio into Elend's empire, deliver the storage cache as well as the loyalty of the citizens. I ran away once. I don't ever have to do that again. I won't ever do that again. Oh,
Yeah, that's
poor
another
kid.
button that can get pushed. Yeah, is that he ran away and let clubs die. That main thing that came afterwards there as well. So it's insecurity and lack of recognition and wanting to be special like everyone else. And then the I ran away, that kind of thing. I can't do it again. So if Ruin can find some sort of way that running away, some sort of framing of a task that he wants Spook to do, if he just frames it as, well, you're running away otherwise, that's a button that can be pushed.
Mm-hmm.
And also just in terms of the Inquisitor stuff, like, okay, so he has maybe like a direct line to Ruin now because of the hemalurgy, but Ruin can't control him yet because there's not enough hemalurgy, I think.
I agree. It's an influence, but it's not a full-on Inquisitor.
It's not a marsh situation.
Yeah. Smells of wine, bodies, ash, and mold hung in the air. Spook could feel the very grain in the stool beneath him, despite his clothing, the movements of people throughout the building vibrating the ground beneath his feet. And with all of this, pewter burned within him. He flared it, made it strong alongside his tin. The bottle cracked in his hand, his fingers pressing too hard, though he released it quickly enough to keep it from shattering. And there it is, the potential he has for not realizing he's going overboard.
Mm-hmm.
It fell toward the floor and he snatched it from the air with his other hand, the arm moving with blurring quickness. Spook blinked, awed at the speed of his own motions. Then he smiled. I'm going to need more pewter, he thought. Oh no.
Yeah, so he can flare and flare and flare. Oh no. Yeah, this is not going well. Spook is doomed, man. We just hope he gets a redemption at some point, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's him.
Spook froze. Several of the conversations in the room had stopped, and to his ears, accustomed to a cacophony, the growing silence was eerie. He glanced to the side. The men who had been speaking of the mines were looking at Spook. Oh no, he's been made! Speaking softly enough that they probably assumed he couldn't hear them.
I'm telling you, I saw him get run through by the guards. Everyone thought he was dead even before they burned him.
Not good, Spook thought. He hadn't thought himself memorable enough for people to notice. You were daredeviling it up in front of everyone.
Yeah.
But then again, he had attacked a group of soldiers in the middle of the city's busiest market.
Dern's been talking about him.
God damn it, Dern. The voice continued.
Said he was of the survivors' own crew.
Did Dern know that?
We didn't know that Dern knew it. We didn't have confirmation that Dern knew it.
Because, oh, no. Spook kind of revealed it. Because Dern was basically saying, I heard the survivor speak at one point, and then Spook got really angry at him, I think.
Yeah.
I will revisit it. Dern, Spook thought. So he does know who I really am. Why has he been telling people my secrets? I thought he was more careful than that. Spook stood up as nonchalantly as he could, then fled into the night. So we've got a very interesting situation here, then.
Spook is the new survivor. That's my
Yay!
I think you can make him the new survivor.
Or if rumors of one of the survivors' crew hanging out in Urtio gets to the citizen, maybe the citizen will try to win him over to his side, at least a little bit, in wanting him to negotiate with Sazed and Breeze when they arrive.
Or he just sees him as a threat and wants him taken out.
Or that. So yeah.
Hopefully he wants to speak to Spook before he decides he's a threat.
Yeah.
If he can use Spook, then that works.
Yep.
But yeah, Dern might be like singing his praises. Who knows? Or Dern is selling his secrets to the citizen. So.
Indeed. Excited to see what happens in the next Spook chapter.
Yeah. Poor Spook. He's doomed.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to say?
Like the video.
If you like. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to that Don Kitte if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel.
And subscribe to this channel because you know it's great.
It would be tremendously appreciated. There is also a Discord and Spotify, if you feel so inclined. And we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks, bye.
Okay, thanks, bye.